Lord. So thank you for joining. My name is Jablan Kitanga. We have introduced ourselves already on Padlet, and then you can see the this Padlet here. I've converted whatever that we have done. If you click, you can download and open it. You can see whatever that our introductions, and then even in the upcoming weeks, like from next week especially, I'm going to have lesson exercise here. Like, can you tell us how many participants are in this study? Whatever that we are interested in for frequency distribution. And then you are able, why I like the Padlet a lot, is that I'm able to convert, and you can follow even if you are taking assessment. And then also one of the advantages that, like, I have an ugly handwriting. So you are able to maybe kind of have, you can draw you can sketch your formulas, whatever that you want to do. And then you can save. If your favorite color is black, you can do a search, and then you can upload, and then everyone is able to see what you've done. But sometimes you can write on a piece of paper and upload as well as, can I close this? You can upload a picture, I have also the same Padlet in my phone, so I can take a picture and upload and maybe write my name. And although you can write your name, we're not interested in who did what, but I would want everyone to be comfortable in the exercises that we'll be doing. That is very effective from my experience since I started teaching this model. But I've started using the Padlet like 2 years ago. But what I've realized, people will not take part in those Padlet. We are just doing this, but in week number 4, excuse me, I'm waiting for other people to do that for me. I've seen that a lot. Don't do that. You are not going to be a psychologist if you allow other children to do things for you. You're actually a bad person. You're selfish, actually. I'm saying this because we're a family here. So, but if you can't, yes, I get that. But don't allow the X, Y, and Z to answer for you. And then you know that you're going to get the PDF, and then I'm going to follow, excuse me, so long I pass. It's going to come back to you one day when you want to understand whatever the aspects. But I do encourage you to take part if you can. Please, please, please. So this is the Padlet. You'll see that every week. And also I said to the class yesterday, we have 2 classes we're going to be joining from week number 3, because most people don't attend the meetings because of work and other activities. So let's say in week number 2, we have a question here. So Sunday evening or even by Monday morning, I'll convert all the contributions in this way and manner. So you're going to see week 1 contributions, week 2 contributions, week 3 contributions, week 4. So you have access to everything. So please don't. Let's say students do that. Let's say week number 2, we're focusing on frequency distribution. And then maybe you're busy. And then now on a Tuesday, because maybe you have a screenshot or whatever question that we have, maybe a picture of the question. And then on a Tuesday, when you are focusing on something else, you post the question from last week. So we are not grading the Padlet. It's for us as a family to help each other. Nothing is graded. The module engagement is not graded. What is graded are your quizzes. So for statistics, the module engagement are quizzes. Not attending the meeting, not taking part in the Padlet, not our chats on WhatsApp. Those are for us as a family to help each other. Okay, I think we understand that. So because I'm saying this because in the other, I think last year or the other term, hi Jablani, I got a 0 on module engagement. I said, excuse me, because you didn't complete the quizzes, but I attended all the meetings. Yes, I know that. And we say that in meeting number 1, that the meetings are for us to support each other. The Padlet are for us to support each other, but the quizzes are contributing to 20% of your. So we have 5 quizzes. I have a slide for that I'm going to show you. So please complete the quizzes as far as you can. Do not, I've seen students like almost a quarter and a half, they don't even take those quizzes. Don't do that. Please, it's your life. Anyway, enough of talking a lot. I don't want this to be a motivation lecture. We are here to learn about statistics. Anyone to tell us what's happening in your life? Well, I'm opening this. Anyone? I can pick like 2 people. Hi, my name is, I'm based here. I'm excited today because whatever, anything that you want. And then you can push in a question if you want to. Let's be brave. I can pick on names. Anyone, just unmute anything like, hi, I did a TikTok video today or whatever. Anything good that is happening. You can unmute and speak. Yes.
So I'm Simona. I'm just
How do you pronounce the name?
Simona.
I'm not going to achieve that.
That's okay. Don't worry, that's perfectly fine. But I just immigrated to Denmark and they ride a lot of bicycles. And today was the first time I tried riding a bike where bike lanes and everything are a big deal. But it's also on the other side of the road. So I was completely traumatized and confused on
okay, so okay, nice. So Denmark is like Netherlands, they cycle bicycles a lot. So did you know how to do that? Or?
Well, yeah, kind of had to figure it out as I went along, but yeah, it's
so you're not driving, you are cycling every time and again.
Yes.
Well, it's good for your health.
It is.
We used to own a bicycle when I was growing up. They would send me to buy bread on a bicycle, like a black one. But anyway, it's stood for another day. We don't have it anymore. I'm becoming soft. But thank you and enjoy Denmark. I read on Padlet that, okay, someone going to Denmark and be a full-time student, all the best.
Thank you.
You can send us a picture one day on WhatsApp, cycling. And someone else, Botle, how are you?
Hi, sir.
Yes, how are you? I saw your post on both Padlets. Which class are you? Like, anyway, yeah.
I'm in this class, but you sent that link on the group, so I assumed I was supposed to put it on there also.
Okay, sorry, I do apologize. Maybe I made a mistake. But how are you? How is it going? Anything good that happened today?
But nothing really happened today. I was just at home reading my schoolwork.
So you were reading about statistics?
Yes.
What did you read? What did you get? Like one word or two? Like, what's this? And then you start.
I really had like a little bit of trouble of understanding the experimental and non-experimental chapter of our lecture.
No, we don't have that. Which book were you reading?
I was reading Stats, the
Is
book.
it experimental?
It is on.
You can speak. I think there's a breaking that is happening. Yes, you can speak, and then I'm going to start the lecture from what you're saying. I think there's a problem with your audio.
Okay, yeah, my network is not stable.
Okay, it's fine then. Okay, it's fine. Thank you. Yes, Melly, let me take it from there.
Sir, I know that this is in the recording, but would it be possible to also post the slides as a
Yes, I will. Yes, to send. Yes, I share everything that we're doing. We are a family, remember I said so.
Wonderful.
You get this, you're going to get the slides, you're going to get the recording. The slides you see it, I'm going to post them tomorrow. Like now I need to eat after this. I'm hungry at the lecture. So don't worry, I share everything. Don't worry about that.
Awesome, thank you. I'm gonna need it.
Okay. But did you manage to read anything statistics?
Me personally, yes, sir.
What did you find?
Well, I haven't gone through all of them because I was still busy with my other subjects as well. But I started with the textbook and not the recommended readings. And I went as far as, well, mostly just going through what is statistics and samples and populations and variables and data.
What is that? What is a parameter in statistics?
Say again.
Did you manage to understand that?
Yes. Okay. As far as I've got, I'm still okay.
Okay, let me proceed then so that we can help each other before I don't want to stay here for long. Thank you so much. So students, like what I said earlier, why are we doing this statistics thing? I just want to be a counselor and open my own practice, or I want to help in the mental health because people are struggling. People always assume so, but remember, we are living in a world that we don't understand. We are always surprised by a number of things that are happening. So as psychological workers or maybe social scientists, we cannot sit back and watch that happening. So we do something about it. So doing something about it is research. So we conduct research. So in psychology and other social, I know some people think they're doing human resources here. That's why I'm saying other social sciences. But even human resources, they deal with people. So let's stick to psychology then. So we have a number of characteristics and attributes that people have. So those are variables, whatever that changes from a person to person. Let's say happiness, satisfaction, psychological well-being, depression, anxiety. So we are able to measure such towards understanding or towards helping people. So when that happens, measuring people, only measuring those variables doesn't make sense. So we need to maybe make a better understanding of such. So there's a procedure that is followed towards that understanding. So we have data. So data means the scores that we've collected from whatever variable that we're interested in, like maybe happiness, like the amount of TikTok, whatever, even COVID-19 cases, the number of students, whatever that we're interested in. So if we collect data and leave it there, we are not doing anything about it. So research, because we've identified a gap, maybe a problem in the world or wherever we are staying. So we collect data towards understanding for interventions. So the procedure that is followed is what we call statistics for data. But why statistics? Excuse me, we have a population and we have parameter and we have a sample for those who have read. So a group of interest is called a population. Let's say we are interested in adolescents, or we are interested in women. If I can use the word women now, maybe female, I don't know which one is appropriate. Or if we're interested in SECAP students, or if we're interested in whatever that we want to do. So that group of people is a population. So a population is not only like a country, but it's just a group of interest. But now the issue is that we don't have access because of resources and for ethical reasons. We don't have access to that population. It's not always possible to measure everyone. Like some people don't want to be measured even in the census. Some of you ran away. You are such bad people, actually. You didn't want to be counted. I don't know why. Anyway, let's leave it for now. So we don't have access because of resources and for ethical. You cannot force people to take part in your study. So what researchers do, they select a representative group, like any group that is going to represent a population. Remember, our question is about the population, but now we don't have access to the population. Now we select a group that is going to represent that population. So that is called a sample. Okay. So the data and the process and procedure, whatever that we do with the data that we collect from that sample, that is statistics. Okay. So that statistics of ours is mainly divided into two kind of formats or groupings. So we can describe the sample on its own, like what is happening, what are the scores saying, among other aspects. So in this module, That is from week number 1 to week number 5. Okay. But now only describing the sample is not enough. There's a process that we call inferential statistics. Would want to generalize our findings to the whole population. Those are questions about the population, remember, but we collected data from a sample. Now we want to generalize the findings. Okay, whatever that we found, does it exist in the population? So it's called hypothesis testing. We're going to do that in week number 6. So that is called inferential statistics. So there's descriptive statistics, and then there's inferential statistics. So in this module, that is what we are focusing on. So a parameter is the data that is measured on a population, and statistics, whatever that we measure from a sample. But now remember, I talked about a variable. I must move these slides. Whatever that I've said in these slides, I don't always follow my slides, but I'm going to share with you. I've explained everything. I've said this already. Did I say this? Yes, I did this when I was introducing myself. I encourage you to do a Padlet, 40 minutes. I say that we'll be victorious. I'm trying to encourage you. And I said it's your life, is it? But I'm here to support you. And I send this already on our WhatsApp, like please avoid 6:30 maximum. Please, guys. Like 8 o'clock, hi Jablani, what did you say in the meeting? The students do that. But let us avoid, unless if you are in another continent. You can, I will check on the message the next day. But sometimes some people, you can do that, but bear in mind that some people don't want to use their phones at that time. So rather send the message directly to me if there's a pressing issue. And avoid weekends as well. Even if you miss us, you find us on Monday morning. And please make use of email address. I think my email is available to you if you go on the learning platform. And you can use message WhatsApp. If you send a message, sometimes I'll see it when I open the learning management system. So WhatsApp is quite easier. I respond on a daily basis. I've seen this already. What else coming here? Okay. Sorry about that. These are just the outcomes at the end of this meeting. This is what we want to understand. I've mentioned this already. Okay, now we want to go to the variables and the scales of measurement. And I'm going to explain to you this for next week in week number 4. So week number 2, so in week number 3. So I just want to kind of give you an overview of what is going to come then. And before I proceed, I've explained statistics, parameter, and among other things. Do you think we need these statistics? Maybe 2 people. Do we need this? Or we must just like, excuse me, let's leave it. Let's focus on counseling modalities, theories of personality. Yes, okay, let's start with Mali first. And then we'll go to Kathleen.
I definitely think that it's a must. It's not do we need it? It's a real must, because if you look at what we've been doing thus far, all our research comes from journals, and all those journals and all those the research done on it is statistical. So without that, how would we further our knowledge in a certain in a certain direction that you want to go in? So I think it's an absolute concrete must that we have to study this.
But we have qualitative research.
Sorry, say again.
I mean, we have qualitative papers as well. If you read the journal articles, some are in kind of thematic, they are narratives in textual format, the descriptions of people, whatever that they're experiencing. We have such as well.
Yes.
So we are saying statistics is more powerful, if I can use that word,
yes.
in comparison to narratives.
I would almost call it the foundation. It is
okay.
the foundation of any science.
Okay. Yes, thank you, Katleko. Yes, Katleko, I see you. Yes, you can speak. You're a little bit faint. I don't know which mic are you using. You can speak again.
hear me?
Yes, try again. Yes, speak.
Okay, I was saying we need both qualitative and quantitative studies. Like she said, like the previous speaker said, I didn't get her name. I'm sorry about that, but we do need both because, I mean, what we wouldn't even understand what we are doing or if what we are doing is good if we don't do studies, if we don't do research. How are we going to make conclusions without getting those numbers done? So I think that is quite imperative.
Okay. And in comparison to qualitative, what do you say? What do you think?
Well, they're both important, I guess, if we are trying to understand people's emotions, get an insight in how they feel and stuff like that, if I'm correct. I believe that forms part of qualitative, right?
Yes, that's qualitative.
Yeah, so,
yes.
So yeah, they're all important. Thank you.
Thank you. Someone else with a maybe different view, like, excuse me, I don't think it's important. Why are we ignoring the descriptions by people? It's important that we interview people that speak their mind and then we collect that textual data instead of just measuring people. Some people speak like that. They are very passionate. Like, excuse me, don't measure people every time. I don't trust numbers. Someone wants to do something to us. I'm just saying. Do we have anyone with such a kind of thought? Like, I don't like it because gives me nightmares. But even if it gives us nightmares, like what we are saying, Katlego and Mel is saying that we need that because I think we need that because the data and statistical process is standardized across the world. You see, even with the COVID-19, what was happening, it was almost a standardized procedure. Even with depression, anxiety, the measurement thereof is a standardized procedure. And we are able to speak to the whole world with such, instead in comparison to qualitative, whereby we create themes according to the context. So qualitative speaks to the context. If you conduct a study in Pretoria, it speaks to people in Pretoria. If you're at a school, it speaks to those people. But now statistics allows us to generalize the findings. If we are happy with the sample and the scores from the sample, we are able to generalize the findings. Do you think that is easy to do? Like, we collect data from a sample, and then can we generalize like what I'm saying? Like, let's say we are interested in adolescents. Maybe we have 4 million adolescents in South Africa. And then we collect data from like 100,000 of them, even 10,000. Can we confidently generalize to say adolescents, if they play gaming, if they spend more time on gaming, it's going to affect their psychological well-being? I'm just saying. Do you think that is possible? Or is it easy like that? Anyone? From whatever that you think. Because in the streets, most of you are saying, why are they doing that in America? And then they bring stuff to us, or whatever what you say to your family members. Yes, you can speak. I would want to hear someone different, if it's possible.
Hi, is Welisa here?
Yes, how are you?
I'm good, and how are you?
Is it closer? Is Welisa closer? Do you speak closer?
Yes, I'm Welisa Kila. Yes, okay. I do. I'm from Eastern Cape, but I'm in
I didn't know. Yes. Okay, it's fine. I try. I speak a little bit of his close.
So you can click your tongue.
Yes, I can. Yes, I try. Yeah.
Okay, that's nice. Okay, yes, I think yes, you can generalize, but then it depends. I think I don't have a background of this. It's just my thinking. It has to be relevant. For instance, you can't take people that are in South Africa and generalize and think that is something that is happening in America, or you can't. I think it also depends on the background of the people. You can't take people that are like, you also have to need to look into the socio-economic background, for instance. Another thing that I'm thinking, like in a war zone, people there, the children there, if you are doing a study, they behave differently from other children who are growing up in other developed countries. So that is my thinking.
Mm.
Those are the
Okay.
things that you need to consider as well when you're generalizing.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. So whatever that you said is correct, but it depends on what we're interested in. And for my personal opinion, from a statistical point of view, I don't think people in Brazil and wherever they are different from people here. People in Western Cape are not different from people in Limpopo. We have the brain, we have the same blood, but I get you. It depends on the topic. Let's say the influence of something. So the socio-economic, whatever standing will come into play. But also, even if you want to select people with this, with that socio-economic standing, the way that we select them should represent the population. Remember, we said you don't have access to the population. Let's say, even if you go to Eastern Cape on its own, even if you go to Mthatha on its own, can you select people that are going to represent the depression level of people from Mthatha? How are you going to select that? So remember, I said we need to make use of a sample. That is why in research, we make use of random sampling. So the purpose of random sampling is that all the attributes and the characteristics of the people are going to be represented. So the characteristics of the population are likely and mostly to be represented in that sample. But now we don't know if we have achieved that. So that achieving, we're going to do that in week number 4 when we calculate the standard deviation and variability. So we use statistics to check on that. So if we are happy with our standard deviation, we can proceed to generalize the findings because the standard deviation is a smaller number. It's very close to the mean. So we are confident that whatever that we've done, the mean is a good representative of that population. But anyway, ignore that for now. We do that in week number 3. So that is the purpose and main reason of statistics. And then it's coming from a central theorem. It is believed that any variable in the population is normally distributed. If you put all the scores of people in a population, it's going to create, I think you may call it a bell shape. Sorry, my network. Sorry, not this one. I want to draw something like this. So if we put all the scores in a distribution, this coming from histogram, you have a lot of people at the center with higher scores, and then some people here with lower scores. So if we select a sample and we include the scores from a sample, if those scores are also producing a normally distributed shape, we can generalize the findings. So that is statistics. Everything that we are going to do from next week, we are moving. Next week we are actually constructing these histograms and check if the data is normally distributed, and the mode, the median in the other week, and the variability as well. And then in the other week, we're going to do Z-scores to standardize. Sometimes we have different samples, but we want to standardize and compare them. So that is another week. And then week number 5, what is the chance of something happening? That is statistics as well. And then from week number 6 now, we are focusing on that generalization. Is there significant difference? Is there significant relationship that exists? Whatever that is existing in the sample, is it also existing in the population? So that is what we are going to do in the next 10 weeks, only that. So remember the central theorem, you can read about it. So whatever that we are doing, we want to check if the sample is also normally distributed. So that is achieved theoretically by random sampling. But even if you random sample, is it correct English? If you select participants randomly, it does not always lead to normal distribution. So statistics help us to assess all that. So that is descriptive statistics. Okay, so just bear that in mind. Let me clear this and then I'll move fast. We want to get done a little bit quickly. So I think we agree that we need statistics, although maybe there are some of us who don't agree to such, but I think you realize as we move on, I want to convince you that we need these statistics. So if your mind is convinced that we need statistics, you are likely to be interested in it. And then whatever that you are doing in the next weeks, you're like, okay, what's this now? Why are we doing this? That's what I've just managed to explain in the previous 5 minutes. Like it's a big deal. We need this. I need to understand this. So that next time when we work with people, when we want to solve the word problems, we are going to make use of the procedures that we're going to teach you. Okay. So it's just to organize, summarize, and it also provides an accurate, meaningful interpretation of data. And then that process and procedures are standardized. So it's a standardized across the world. All the formulas are the same. I think I saw someone who's in accounting, exactly like that. We do the same thing. If wherever you go, you're going to speak the same language. And I've explained this already, but just as a slide, what is a population and what is a sample, what is the difference as well. And then I've touched on that last sentence as well, like, is it possible to select a group of participants to represent a population? Yes, it's possible. And then researchers make use of random sampling, but it's not always possible like that. It's not feasible to random select participants because you don't have access to the database. You don't have access to their names because of POPI Act and among other things. So researchers are making use of convenient sampling. So convenient sampling is whereby you make use of the people that are available, but with the hope that the distribution of that sample is going to be normal, like what I've just showed you. If it is not, you have to run the non-parametric test. You don't have to generalize the findings. So if you read the chapters of the textbook, you see that, like for example, from chapter number 11, if I'm mistaken, there's parametric test and then there's an alternative test. It means that if you don't achieve the normal distribution, what should you do? But in this module, we are focusing more on the parametric test, the one that allows us to generalize the findings. Okay, so this the same like population sample and this parameter in the statistic. We've explained that already. I think you understand. If you read as well, you can get to that. And I've described what is a variable, any characteristics of or attribute that changes from a person to person. Depression, anxiety, happiness, quiz score, psychological well-being, satisfaction, among others. And then in week number 9 and 10, we're going to come back to what is a dependent variable, what is an independent variable. This is mostly coming from experimental designs. So the one that is, if you manipulate the other, what the changes that are happening in the other one. So, but ignore that for now, but just something that you need to know. This is just an addition to say, what is that data that you're talking about? Those are the scores that have been measured. And I didn't know this until maybe 3 years ago. Like, okay, datum, I've never used that word. And don't worry, I'm not going to ask you what is datum, what is data. We are focusing on the processes and the procedures of statistics. Okay, but now those variables that I'm talking about, we have 2 forms of variables that you can get, but actually I'll come back to this slide. I want to go to this one. This slide, I have something nice. So I created something very kind of attractive. So I think in 1927, you don't have to know that. I didn't know that as well, but I read there were confusion, there were arguments like, okay, we have a variable, but how are we measuring those variables? So they came up with 4 kind of categories of scales of measurement. So in statistics across the world, these are the scales that are used to measure any variable. So a variable can take the form of nominal variable. So it's like the age groups, like it means the younger, the older, the adolescents, the teenagers, you can group them, it's a name, or the names of continents, the names of cats, the names of dogs, the provinces, types of interventions. So those are nominal variables. They take a form of a name. And then we have a variable that can take the form of an order, like first, second, third, like position in class. We used to do that at primary school, like first, second, third, or the size of whatever, a shoe, small, medium, large. And you realize that those first 2 are not used a lot in statistics because they do not allow a construction of that distribution to form a normal distribution or for us to check if the data is normally distributed. But the second 2, the ratio and the interval, they allow us to do as such. So the ratio is just like maybe your age, it's like 1 year old, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. And also maybe the quiz marks, 1, 2, 3, 4, like out of 5, something like that, or the happiness score, if it's out of 20, I don't know how it is measured. So those scores are kind of ratio. Very similar to interval, but the interval can take a form of a negative value. All the textbooks that I've read, they always use an example of temperature. But until yesterday, a student said the bank balance. I even laughed. I think it's true. So they say, she said her bank balance is on a negative. So it means that even temperature is on it's -10. That temperature is something that exists. Unlike you cannot say age of someone's age is -20. You can't do that. There's no age to talk about. You can say quiz score is -10. It means there is no score to talk about. So that is the main difference between ratio and interval. But that doesn't matter much. What matters is that those two variables are called continuous data. They're data that are grouped into continuous, because you are able to construct that normal shape that I just did in the previous minutes. So we are going to use this once when you do chi-square. I think in week number 6, 7, week number 8, we are going to come back to this. We are not going to use this at all in the statistics here in this module, but you're going to use these two, but combined, just to run a set of analysis in the number of analyses. In psychology, I don't know of any variable that is on a negative. If you can find one, please let me know. I'm still to find one. But that's just from statistics as a whole. Whatever module that you're doing, these are the skills of measurement that I used. And then coming back, so this, I was trying to be nice, like what is descriptive statistics, what is inferential statistics? We've explained that already. I want this. So the values of, I think there's a question on your quiz, in the first quiz. I don't know why they did that. I was surprised someone took the quiz and then they got 4. They were complaining that I said the quiz on week number 2, 4, 6. And that is what happened in the previous years. But I've realized that the due date is on a Monday. Like they're asking questions about week number 1 in this week already. So you must take that quiz by Monday. And there's a question about this, if I'm mistaken. So the value of a variable can be this. How do you pronounce this? Those who are English.
Discrete.
Discrete, okay. What does it mean in English?
Discrete is normally something that is not, how can I say it? It's not so obvious. It's a bit more
indivisible.
Yeah.
Which word did you use again? In what? Indivisible. I have that word. Don't copy my words. I'm looking for another word. I want to help those like myself. I speak Sean. And I speak English. Countable. Thank you. Yes. So it's almost a whole. I would say a variable with a whole number. That's what I would say for those who can be confused. So there are no values that exist between like number of students in a class. We cannot say 5.5, is it? That's what it means actually. It's actually the whole numbers, a variable that can take a whole number. If you read the textbook, they use the method of a dice, the numbers on a dice, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So those are discrete variable. I don't know how to pronounce it, but I've been teaching it for like 7 years. Excuse me, sorry about that. And then a variable can be in the form of a continuous variable, like what I said earlier. Those variables, but if you see statistics, they may include a whole number. But actually what it means is that, let's say the height of a person, you see that, okay, is 2 meters or 1.68 meters long. But actually it may mean that that person is 1.6833, whatever. Or even if you watch F1, they will say 14.22.19, like Lewis Hamilton has completed the race in something like that. So it means there's no separation between the values. That's what actually it means. You cannot separate there's a lot of point between the values, but for the sake of calculations, there's a use of whole numbers and sometimes decimals. So that is the main difference between the two. I think there's a question about that, but as you progress, that doesn't matter much. Okay, but it's a good thing to know. Okay, we're almost done. I think if you have questions, we've done in 4 minutes. If you have questions. So what is statistics? What is perimeter? What is the population? What are we doing? Why are we doing this even? Yes, you can speak. I'm hearing something on. Someone wants to speak. Okay, I heard like someone wanted to speak. Okay, let's proceed. Now, okay, enough about talking. Yes, we are convinced. Okay, we need the statistics, Jabulani statistics of yours. It's not mine, it's yours too. Because you have assigned, I want to be a psychologist. It's a numbers game. You see N, capital letter N, you see small letter n, you see this is sum of, I think some of you, so we don't want to assume that everyone knows about it. So this is, what is it called? Is it sig? I don't know what is it called, not sigma, I'm not sure. But what it means is the sum of, you're going to see most of the formulas in statistics, they make use of this function. So it's sum of. So the X is the score, is the raw score in statistics in this module. Like anxiety score out of 10, 6. So that is X, okay. So you see sometimes we ask you to calculate, let's say, let me write down the values before we close. Let's say, give me another variable that we're interested in. Can someone just, I'm not reading the charts, just unmute and give me any variable. I want to write the scores. I'm trying to think. Help me, please. Any variable. Like Jabulani, let's speak about the level of whatever, and then I want to give those scores. I want to explain these 3. If you understand this, no, not these 3, actually these 2, you're good to go. Anything, any variable? Since you know what is a variable.
The number of people who smoke.
Okay, but okay, well, let's say in province, I don't know, 7, yes. Let's say 6, 7, 2, 1, 0, 3, something like that. Let's say we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 households. So these are X values, 7, 6, 7, 2, 1, 0, and 3. Sometimes in the notation, it's in the first chapter of the textbook, but focus on these 2, 1 and 2. So in English, this is sum of squared scores. So it means we square each score and then we add the total. Okay. This is different from this one. This one is sum of scores squared. Okay. It means we add 7 plus 6 plus 7 plus 2 plus 1 plus 0 plus 3, and then we square such. Okay. We are going to do that in week number 3. Okay. There are formulas like we are going to focus on. There's a formula like this. I'm telling you this so that we are aware of what is coming up. It's not a big deal. We are going to do it together as we assist. This is the main formula in statistics. Okay, this formula is a big deal. So if you know how to do this, and this is N, the number of participants in that study or the size of a sample. This we're not going to do it, but actually what we do, you say if each score you subtract 2, and then you add the outcomes. Let's say 7 minus 2, 6 minus 2, 7 minus 2, and then the total of that. Okay. So you are going to see these first 2 as we move forward and ahead in this module. And next week, we are going to be focusing on frequency distribution. Remember, we collect this data, like how many people smoke, like 7, 6, 5, 4. So leaving it like that doesn't make sense. So we need to organize and summarize and maybe construct some graphs for such. So that is what we're going to focus on next week. So the purpose is to summarize and organize data so that it makes sense to the reader or even ourselves. So that is next week. So the big deal is something like this. So let's say we have the scores. We can group them into frequency. How many scores of 5 do we have? How many scores of 4 do we have? How many scores of 3 do we have? The purpose of such is to construct a histogram. If we have that histogram, we are able to assess if the data is normally distributed, is it skewed, or is it negatively skewed, among others. So that's what we're going to do next week. So we focus each week. We have a section for each week so that we understand the descriptive statistics until week number 5. And then from week number 6, we are going to be focusing on inferential statistics. Okay. As we do that next week, we're going to assess if the data is positively skewed, is it negatively skewed, but the intention of researchers is something that is normally distributed. Sometimes and often doesn't always go like that. That is why researchers make use of bigger samples. If you make use of bigger samples, it's possible that the data is obviously normally distributed. This is bimodal. We're going to do that in week number 3. I'm going to explain what it means in week number 3. So this is week number 3. We are going to calculate the mean, identify the median, and the mode. And then from such, we are going to identify the shape of a distribution. This is this. And then in that week as well, we are going to calculate the range, the variance, and the standard deviation. Very important. So the mean is just finding a number that is representing the whole sample, but the variability is going to check if we can trust that value. Like how many people smoke on average. If I'm using the word average for now. Let's say we add all the scores, we divide, let's say 4. But can we trust that 4 value? Let's check how are the other scores sticking to each other. So yeah, that is for week number 3, and then we'll move on like that. 2 people or 3 people, and then we call it an evening. Your feeling, what is likely to hinder you, and how can we help each other? And then we call it an evening. I'm hungry. I think we're going to eat. We call it SARS where I come from. Pap, is it? I don't know. We don't have control of what we eat. We just get, okay, food is ready, and then eat whatever that is there. It's too like that. 3 people, reflection about today, this evening, and whatever, everything, anything, and what is likely to hinder you, whatever that you want, and then we call it an evening. And thank you for joining. Let me pick on. Anyone, you can unmute and speak. Okay, we on now?
Hi, yes. Slightly overwhelmed, and but yeah, positive. I think I'll get there.
Thank you. Yeah, you have to be positive.
Yes.
It works. And then one thing, people think I'm joking when I say you must learn to like me. I think it's effective. At least, I'm not saying I want people to like me, but at least you also, it's positive. It's a positive aspect of it. So I hope I'm likable. But you will be interested in the module as well. If you don't like me, number 2, you don't like the module. Number 3, you don't like the institution. I don't want you to go to disliking yourself. Let's rather not like me. If you don't like yourself, you quit. Then excuse me, I don't want this. Actually, I can't do this anymore. Let's not do that. I'm here to help you all the way. Thank you for saying that. Yes, Caroline.
At the moment, I'm a little bit confused, but I guess, like you said, the attitude matters. So yes, we start by liking the module, say something positive about it. Then I think we're going to make the most of it and it's going to turn out well.
Yes, our meetings are going to help. You realize that, okay, this is what it is. Okay, so it's simple. It's not a lot, actually. You realize as you move, okay, I was just kind of thinking that it's hectic, but actually it's not. It's not. Yes, Maddie, thank you for raising your hand.
I think also what I realized now during this meeting is I think it will be helpful if I do my readings before the meeting.
Thank you. Otherwise, you're going like, what is this saying? It's Greek. And you're not going like, which word did you use again? What? Standard what? and yes, yeah. And thank you for saying that. I think, but life is challenging. People are busy, understand that. That is why we record all the meetings. That is why we are having meetings in Padlet across everywhere. We have WhatsApp. I can motivate you on a Monday, but this is not a motivation module. But we are here so that we are all victorious, but not only for the sake of being victorious, but I would want you to understand statistics and like what we said earlier, we need numbers, the numbers game, we understand, and then we solve the world problems in a much better way. Okay. The last person, just most positive words to kind of take us through the week. Like what we always say, you say, I encourage people, I'm a speaker, I'm such a nice person. Say, this is your chance now to prove that. Yes, Kathleen. No, I wanted to hear a different voice, but you can speak. Yes, Kathleen. You can.
I'm sorry, I had to stop the video first. Instead of unmuting, I went straight to video. I'm sorry about that. Okay. But I just wanted to add that each session is important because it's like you carry one to the other. If you miss out on one, it's like the second one wouldn't work, basically.
Thank you. Thank you so much for saying that. Especially on week number 5. Like, what's this? What are they? Which statistic are they talking about? Excuse me, they must leave me alone. So that is important. So if you can't attend, watch the recording of every exercise meeting that you're going to do. So next week, we don't speak like this, but we have the pen and paper side. We do work together. And then I think for 30 minutes, I think it makes sense. It helps everyone as well. Okay, if we don't have anything to say, thank you so much for attending. Please attend next time.